This is Apple's brand new Studio Display XDR. Starting at $3,299, this is Apple's high-end 27-inch 5K mini LED display with ProMotion. And on paper, it's better than the Pro Display XDR in just about every way, which is why this is actually replacing it and the Pro Display has been discontinued. But why do I miss my Pro Display so much? Well, I'll tell you why. It's 32 inches, and I think 32 is the perfect size for a single monitor setup. It is the perfect sweet spot. 27, in my opinion, just feels a little bit too small. And that's really my only complaint from a functional standpoint. I just hate the fact that this monitor just seems a little bit too small compared to what I was used to. Oh, and also, just look at how cool the Pro Display looks in comparison. It's been so long since this has been out, and I still haven't seen a monitor that looks this cool and this good. Don't get me wrong, the Studio Display also looks fantastic and has premium build quality. That's better than most of the other monitors out there, in my opinion, but the perforated back panel from a design standpoint, I just really loved. Otherwise, there's really no reason for me to continue to use the Pro Display. Don't get me wrong, I'm not getting rid of it. It's amazing, but it's not going to be my main monitor because, as I mentioned before, you're getting a lot of new features and a lot of upgrades that you just didn't have on not only the older Studio Display, but of course the Pro Display. And as a Pro Display user, this video is mostly coming from that perspective. Now, for those of you who want my opinion or want me to review the standard Studio Display, there's really not much of a difference. You do get Thunderbolt 5 ports on the back and some beefed up low end to the speaker system, but that's really it. Everything else is pretty much the same. With the new Studio Display XDR, the first thing we really need to dive into is just how good and how bright this 5K mini LED panel is. We finally have a display that actually matches how good the MacBook Pro mini LED displays have looked for quite some time. For a while, it was tough to use the MacBook Pro with mini LED and then jump over to the regular Studio Display or really any other monitor and just see how it wasn't up to par with what you were getting on the MacBook, especially when you go to an Apple monitor. As you can see from the Studio XDR and the Pro Display XDR, we have some blooming going on here with the older Pro Display, which is to be expected since it's not a mini LED panel. But yeah, the blooming is not great, and the deep blacks and therefore the contrast that you get from the Studio Display XDR is just really nice to see here. It almost looks OLED at times with how deep the blacks are, just how good the vibrant and contrast ratios are. 2,304 local dimming zones versus 576 on the older Pro Display will absolutely do that for you. Brightness is also insane. The new Studio Display XDR gets 1,000 nits of sustained brightness with 2,000 nits peak. Pro Display was a max or peak brightness of 1,600, so not even close there. Retina quality, this large with mini LED display is really, really nice. I haven't seen that before, but let's also add 120 Hz ProMotion with adaptive sync to the mix. And honestly, it's not really as noticeable as you might think, especially on a display this large until you start moving things around, you move the mouse around, whatever. Or if you're gaming, that's when you'll really notice it. Or I guess just use this monitor for a few hours and then go back to something that doesn't support that. And then, start to do normal things and you'll see that it's obviously a huge difference. But after I use the Pro Display or the Studio Display XDR, I'm probably going to do that a lot. The Studio Display XDR with that 120 Hz ProMotion, after a few hours, you kind of really get used to it that you forget that it's there. Huge feature here on the new Studio Display XDR is the 12 megapixel center stage camera with support for desk view. Let me know what you think of the quality for both audio and video of this camera. So this is the new 12 megapixel center stage camera on the Studio Display XDR. Of course, you guys know what you need to do. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about not only the video quality, but also the microphone quality. And now we'll go over to the Pro Display XDR's camera for reference. Okay, so obviously jokes aside, there is no camera or microphones on the very expensive Pro Display XDR, which was well over $5,000 when it launched. So that is why having a webcam and microphone setup built into the display for the Studio Display XDR is huge, especially for Pro Display XDR users. We also have a 6-speaker sound system, which we did not have on the Pro Display XDR. And honestly, it's been excellent for 90% of the things I do here, which is watching or editing content all day. Once you start to try to listen to music, however, I really start to miss my external desktop speakers. But The convenience of having everything built in and not relying on horrific inconsistencies that are Bluetooth devices with a Mac, especially audio Bluetooth devices in 2026, where it's just constantly cutting in and out for me. This is definitely a nice upgrade, and it's passable for music. It's not the best, but it's passable, so I'm probably not going to be using my desktop speakers anymore. On the back, we have two Thunderbolt 5 ports, up to 120 gigabytes per second for data transfer, and two USB-C ports, up to 10 gigabytes per second. The one port with the dot here is your upstream, so this is what you'd want to connect to your MacBook, and it offers 140 watts of charging. The other will be downstream, which is what you can use for any accessories or daisy chaining additional displays, which you can now have support for up to 4 external displays. Especially if you're driving it from a single MacBook Pro, that's actually pretty insane. The Pro Display, for reference, had one Thunderbolt 3 port and then 3 USB-C downstream ports, which honestly was kind of worthless. It was good for connecting a few peripherals, but yeah, I mean, this is obviously another huge upgrade. And like I mentioned before, the standard Studio Display also has the same Thunderbolt 5 setup. So that's really it when it comes to what's new with the Studio Display XDR compared to the Pro Display XDR. It's a pretty nice upgrade from most monitors. And obviously, if you're a standard Studio Display user, you probably don't really need to upgrade to this. Not most people probably don't really need to buy something like this. And we can make plenty of arguments about how there are tons of other displays out there where you can get a lot more for a lot less. Yada, yada. There is not a lot of Retina quality monitors out there, even when we're talking about just the standard Studio Display at $15.99. I know that's really expensive for a 27-inch monitor, but it's still a better build, a better design, and a better display for most of the other things out there. When it comes to Pro Display versus Studio Display, I would say that there really isn't a question about what you're getting. It's significantly better. So yes, you should upgrade, but I'm guessing that a lot of people who are using the Pro Display and have been using it for the last 6 or 7 years, you probably aren't rushing out there to go get something. But if you're looking at this monitor and you're wondering, is it worth it? Yes, I can 100% say with confidence that your Pro Display will probably last you another 5 years, but the Studio Display XDR does offer you a lot of different features. The only thing that I don't like is obviously the 6K downgrade to 5K, but that's really negligible. The biggest thing here is that you're dropping from 32 inches to 27. That's my biggest gripe. And you're losing out on a better design, in my opinion, just from what it looks like aesthetically. But the Studio Display already looks amazing. So let me know in the comments down below which one you would buy if you could. Again, most of you probably shouldn't go out there and buy a Studio Display XDR, but if you are going to do so and you're going to spend $3,200+ on this, just know that you're going to get a really good monitor. But yeah, I mean, I think you're overpaying for it. Let me know in the comments what you think. And of course, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss more videos from us in the future. This has been with MacRumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you around in the next video.